Welcome to another edition of Lady Arcader's Attract Mode. I am your host of the day, Jaypeg, and this is a series where we run small events throughout the year, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. and Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m. Eastern, to catch awesome ladies showing off awesome games. If you're just tuning in and you love this and you want to see more, our 2022 highlights video is live on our socials thanks to our awesome editor, Pakal. And speaking of editing, we're always looking for volunteers and we would love for you to join us. We always have positions open, but we're especially looking for video editors and Twitch moderators if either of those catch your interest. If you are interested, you can go to ladyarcaders.com and find out more information or join our Discord by typing !Discord in chat. But here's the deal. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. We have some fantastic games for you today, and I think the Sunday chill vibes here are just immaculate. We're starting with a super cool card game, and then we're going to be changing gears to a rhythm game to get your groove on through the afternoon. So without further ado, let's jump into our first game of the day, Sentinels of the Multiverse with Goth Girl Alexia and Games for Life on comms. My friends, the card gaming table is all yours.
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to Sentinels of the Multiverse. This is a superhero-themed card game. We are going to go over a few things quickly before we get started with the game, because it's very front-loaded in information.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of
on post, we have Games.
Hello, I'm Games. Glad to be with y'all.
So yeah, the first thing we're going to do once the game decides to open, the thing I want to open, thank you, is the 4 villains we're going to be fighting. There is Baron Blade. His whole thing is getting cards in his trash. Gets too many, you lose. He's pretty much the tutorial villain of the game. He's really not that hard. The important things about Baron: first time he's destroyed, he flips, which gives him more HP. He has his defense platforms that make him immune to damage, his force field, which gives him DR, and a hit back. Those are the most important things he has in his deck. Pretty much anything else we can mention as they come up. There is Dawn, who has a bunch of targets, and they're really annoying. The main issues that we have to run in from Dawn are going to be Tears, who makes us discard, Truth, who makes everything immune to damage, her Aurora, which destroys all of our setup, and Blinding Blast because it's annoying and wastes a bunch of time.
Yeah, Dawn is probably the boss with some of the straight up most annoying cards in the game. Let's hope that we don't get any of those.
And if you mess up and ever kill 5 citizens, she becomes immune to damage for a while and is really annoying. So we're just not going to do that. Then after that we have Voss, who spawns a bunch of targets. Not a ton to say about Voss. His whole gimmick is that you're supposed to kill all his targets because they give him damage reduction, and we're going to completely ignore that and just not care. He takes 2 less damage for each minion in play. You're supposed to kill them, then he does damage and things. We're just not going to care about that. We're just going to kill him with all of his targets in play. And finally, we have Omnitron, who is really good at just wasting your time if he wants to. Also has some of the most annoying cards in the game. There is Adaptive Fighting subroutine, which just makes him immune to damage, so we have to switch up our damage types. There is Interplosion Beam, which damages you for drawing. 15 Health Bomb. Destroy all of your ongoings and destroying all of your equipment, as well as doing a ton of damage for you.
Yeah, the plating,
If he wants to waste no time, he will.
absolutely. Especially the plating, since most of the teams just do not deal multiple types of damage.
Now, we'll quickly go over the main heroes we're going to be running as well, and then we'll get into it, I think, for the most part. The heroes we're going to be running are Legacy. Legacy has two important things we're going to be using. There's his base power, which increases damage up by heroes by 1. And there is this power, which we use to give other people powers. Other important cards he has in his deck are Inspiring Presence to again increase our damage, Heroic Interception and Takedown to make the villain do less, and Lead from the Front for shenanigans with Redirection. What Legacy does, he's our main support character we run on the team. We run Fnatic for a similar reason. Gives people powers, plays top of her deck. She has decent damaging cards like Martyr, which is an 8 damage power when you use it off of base power. Wrathful Retribution is a good finisher for the fight. And End of Days is a card we're never using in the speedrun. It's really bad to see. You'll see if when you use base power, if it hits End of Days, we'll usually just rewind so that it doesn't get played because we don't want End of Days. It's really bad.
Overall, there are just very few uses for End of Days. Being able to destroy all cards might seem great, but usually that's going to hurt your own team more than the enemies.
Yeah, it's usually not a great thing. We have the Sentinels. The Sentinels are really cool because they are the single highest damage output team in the game without setup. They are capable of dealing the highest damage per round. Technically, in real time, there is a faster hero. We'll get to that in a minute. The important things that they have are Durasteel Chains, which increases damage dealt by mainstay. Collisionist Form, which is a redirect off of Wraith. And Sentinel's Tactics, the first time each turn they do damage, we can use a power. Power will be to use mainstay's power for damage. Or, rarely, Idealist's power, which is slightly less damage, but also can save our HP if we really need it. And then a lot of their cards are just either AoE or just big hits. I mean, these are like 4 or 5 damage hit, 2 and 3, 6. Like their average one shot is 4 damage, or 5 damage. Sorry, the average one shot is 5 damage for this deck, which is pretty good, given that you also have power. So you do like 10 damage per round with Sentinels, and we increase that more with the other character we have. We have Stuntman. Stuntman is, in real time, one of the fastest damaging heroes in the game. This is due to his power, which increases his own damage and lets you play cards, as well as his cards that do benefits when used out of turn. The important things for him are no time to bleed. Whenever he is dealt damage, he can hit back, and Dramatic Cliffhanger, which lets you basically take a full turn on the environment turn. Mine is funny because it's a giant AoE. And In Media Res is one of the funniest cards in the entire game, which is just cool. It is now the start of my turn. Which is really funny because it skips any other effects that are happening at the end of that turn. And the last hero that we really need to go over is Tachyon. Tachyon has very important things in her deck. First is her power, which we are going to be using on the Sentinels, because revealing the bottom cards of the deck and getting especially one-shots, because the Sentinels have a lot of one-shots that do damage, is really good. There is Fleet of Foot, which gives us more cards. Blade Sweep Barrage is a good finisher. And Synaptic Interruption can be good damage. It's usually kind of underwhelming, but it's there. She also just has things like Sonic Vortex and Hypersonic Assault, which are good ways of clearing out a lot of targets if we need to. I guess I should quickly go over the other power we're going to be using, because there's one other thing we need, and that is we're going to be using this in-cap. We're going to be using this in-cap ability. So the target until the start of your turn, all hero damage is redirected to that target. You'll see what we're using that for later.
It's very useful. After all, the few bosses with a lot of minions can just be forced down in a single turn.
Yeah. Then I go to Insula. We'll just go over the environment real fast as well. The environment has exactly one card we care about that's relevant. That is Obsidian Field. Actually, it has two. There's Obsidian Field, which increases all damage, and there's Volcano, which is giant AoE. Both of which are great cards. The rest do whatever. Not super important. They exist. And then during the hero turn, I guess I should go over that real fast for retard as well. On each hero turn, we get to play a card, use a power, and then draw a card in that order.
It's a very simple game by itself.
Yeah. Baron Blade has a card called Roll Defense Platform, which makes him immune to damage till we kill it. So he functionally has 80 HP to start the fight with, due to his revive as well.
Yep.
So we're just going to start with the... We're going to start with Sentinels, because we can. Technically, Stuntman is faster for this, but also this is where time would start on the speedrun. If you were timing it for the leaderboard, you would have done it the moment you clicked Baron. That would be when timing started. I guess I should mention that since it's a little important. Blade Battalion is actually a pretty good start. Just does damage to Heinz at the end of the villain turn. Notice every time I play Coordinated Assault, I'm going to choose Mainstay. This doesn't actually matter until I get the other card in play, but by habit, I'm just going to use Mainstay pretty much every time.
Can I just love how this game looks? Like, it's just the comic aesthetic on it is so good.
Normally there'd be a background and you'd have the character portraits up here, but my computer was being dumb and didn't want to let me use them without causing a stupid amount of lag, so they are turned off. I mean, they're cool. So I'm going to show them towards the end of the speedrun, because I do think they're pretty cool.
One very neat thing about the character portraits is they change depending on various factors like the HP of your characters, sometimes when a certain card is in play, and for bosses it's on which side of the card they are on.
The other thing I don't think I mentioned is that the music in the background actually depends on which environment you choose. So all of the music is based on the environment, which means you're only going to hear like 2 of the soundtrack songs in this game. But there's quite a lot. That's unfortunate. Doing Sentinel's Tactics there is really nice. If we could have got it in play, because Sentinel's Tactics gives a lot of extra damage. Pretty good. Anytime you hit 2 one-shots is usually pretty good. And on the off chance you somehow hit 2 not one-shots, it's also okay. But most of the not one-shots aren't actually really all that useful. The only ones you'd really want are Durasteel Chains, Collisionist Form, and Sentinel's Tactics. If you're playing more casually, Body Double or whatever the card is called is also okay. Human Shield, I think is what the card is called. It's also pretty good. but just not that useful. And 2-inch shield, yeah. But it's not useful in the speedrun. That's unfortunate, actually, drawing dirt still change there. But it's fine. And I'm not playing a damaging one-shot here. Also, cheap communication, one of the single stupidest cards in this entire game. You just get to draw 4 cards and then play another card. It's really silly.
Like in most card games, having more cards gives you more options, and so being able to draw 4 and continue playing is just very effective.
There's heroes in this game that have a card that have cards that are draw 2 play a card, and that's really good. Draw 4 play a card is just silly. And now with Tech Gun, we're just throwing cards in her trash for later for Lightspeed Barrage. Continuing to hit really bad things on the Sentinels. But what you gonna do about it?
I have a really important question from chat. Is Baron Blade a handsome Robotnik type, kind of like handsome Squidward?
The answer to that question is yes.
Perfect. I'm glad we got that settled.
Game has crazy lore, which we're not gonna get. We don't have anywhere near enough time to get into.
That would be its own
They have like,
attraction.
they have like an 80-episode podcast, and each episode is like 2 hours long.
Wow.
And each one goes super in depth and long. Like if I wanted to, like I spent literally like 4 hours talking about the lore of one character in this game. It is a lot of lore.
The lore also kind of flows into the gameplay, because there is a mechanic called Nemesis, where if a character attacks a character with the same icon, it gets a damage buff.
You can actually see that icon on Baron Blade here, and it's also on Legacy. So whenever Legacy hits Baron Blade, or whenever Baron Blade hits Legacy, they deal +1 damage. This is not cards from their deck, it is specifically the character themselves. So like the battalion there does not get the extra damage against Legacy.
Yeah, and these Nemesis icons are there for lore reasons. Since, for example, Baron Blade, the child of Baron Blade was... Oh well, Baron Blade assumes his child was killed by one of the older legacies. So now he's trying to get his revenge on the Legacy family.
I don't think I mentioned it ahead of time either, is that whenever there's a tie in this game, the heroes get to choose. So like there's the hero shifting second highest, because there was 2 targets second highest, we get to choose who it hits. Thing I don't think I mentioned earlier. I was ignoring the T-Rex if we don't actually care about it. All us doing in Legacy right now, who's immune to environment damage because of Danger Sense. I can actually play the other Flight Speed Barrage there, but oh well. Live and let live, I suppose. So anyway, this is Baron done. Really easy fight. If you lose to Baron, I mean, you have to get insanely bad luck to lose to Baron.
In card games to lose with Baron. Understood.
Next is Dawn. Dawn, as we said, is probably the single most annoying villain in the entire speedrun here. And so this is why we bring the really funny team of Kill her dead. Technically, Enclave of the Endlings isn't a good environment here, but it has a cool soundtrack, and so that's why we're doing it. Normally for this environment, you would also, or for this villain, you would also just run Installa, because damage increase is good. Wet Summer, Spring is fine. And Channel Eclipse is also fine. So what we're doing here is we're going to try to kill Fnatic, because, yeah, we're going to be using that top end cap we showed earlier.
Since Dawn just summons a lot of citizens and we aren't allowed to kill them since she would become immune, we use the incap of Fnatic to very easily kill Dawn.
Jaypeg has called Divine Focus. At the start of each turn, Fnatic can discard a card to do damage. And because we're redirecting all the damage she does to herself, because of her power there, Living Conflagration is more damage here. Because 2 instances. Which, because all of our damage is +1 from Legacy, ends up being a lot of damage. We turn on Chasing, which says at the end of your turn, deal target 1 damage. We don't care about the other effect, which is heal for 1 HP. Because, I mean, Dawn's not going to kill us. She might annoy us, but she's not going to actually kill us. Here's Orpo. Orpo just punches things in the face. That's most of this game. Things just punch things in the face. Blood is fine. Healing Light is also fine. Combination of Sweat and Blood there is why that Blood did more damage there. That's the gimmick of Dawn. She has a bunch of targets, and the targets are better if there's a lot of them. Or if there's multiple of the same type. So, like, there's Blood, Sweat, and Tears, there's Battery and Assault, and if both are in play, they get benefits. Hammer, Anvil. Yeah, so all of those will benefit and become stronger if multiple of them are in play. Summer, Spring, Winter, Autumn don't have that effect, they just exist.
Yeah.
One thing you say there is, I'll go over this before I let you talk. Every time you do AoE there, you see me just pressing the choose for me option. You can technically choose the order you hit every target. However, in this game, we never actually care about the order. At least in this fight.
The reason for that is since it's AoE, it's going to hit every target anyway. For the most part, you just do not care if multiple targets are getting hit by the same source. It does matter slightly if there are reactions, because various effects in the game interact with taking damage and dealing damage. So, depending on what you do, you can squeeze in more damage or even just negate a entire instance of damage.
What's funny is, even though I said that, we actually did use that earlier because we did it for Baron. We killed the platform before we hit him from the AoE. We're going to do the same strategy again for boss, because, again, we don't actually want to kill his minions. The thing we're doing differently this time, we have GI Bunker. Select a target, tell the starter your next turn all damage dealt to that target is irreducible. Technically, again, you'd want to do Insta-Lock here, but just for the sake of variety, we'll go ahead and do Silver Gulch.
Oh, Silver Gulch is fun. It's one of the few environments in the game that can potentially make you lose.
Yeah, there's the card in the environment that says if something happens, you lose the game. There's like 4 environments, I think, that have at least a card that does that. It's not super common, but it does exist. Also nice. Getting a power and turret mode in opening hand is exactly what you want for Bunker. All we're doing for Bunker is we're using his base power unless we get exactly a second power and turret mode, which lets us use an extra power and do damage. And I play playing Presence and Galvanize, so we have all the damage right now. What's funny about Voss is he has 2 spaceships in his deck that are actually annoying. Everything else in his deck kind of doesn't matter. Actually, I don't want to play that. Here's the rewind option, by the way. You have that. Ideally, you don't want to use it because it loses time, but it's the thing in this game. It only lets you rewind, I believe, to the end of the previous turn. Is where you can go to, or start of the previous turn. But you can't just go through a whole round and then redo the entire round. But you can do quite a lot with it. Divine Focus is a decent card to have. Would have been nice to have earlier, obviously. Here we play Summon Staff, which lets us grab the Staff of Ra from the deck, draw a card, and play a card. We don't actually care about Staff of Ra right this second, but it's useful for next turn when we AoE. Also, there's that Meanwhile button. I'm not really using it, but you can use it to look at the board while you are making certain choices. Also, High Summon Staff. Yeah, Ra has, if I remember correctly, there's 4 copies of the Staff and 4 copies of the Search, and we're just drawing all of them.
Surprisingly, having 4 copies of a card and the card that finds it just makes the deck very consistent at getting a card in play.
And we checked the math on another deck which has 4 copies of a Search and 3 copies of the card, and it's a 55% chance you draw in your opening hand. So when you add a 4th one, it's even more than that. This is actually very common with certain heroes. So like Ra has it, Absolute Zero has it. There's a couple other heroes that have it as well. Here's Sheriff Rat. Sheriff Rat is cool to get normally. He shoots things, he does damage. We don't actually care what he hits here. I'm actually gonna miss killing Fnatic, I think, which is really unfortunate. I'm just a little short of killing Fnatic, maybe we have to waste another round. Okay, we can kill him. I'm not in what Legacy he has in his hand. I think Legacy has Spock in hand. Also, yeah, your Legacy turn of giving a damage increase. So that's a 6 damage power. Oh, we Flying Smash, that also works. We hit Floss, we kill Fnatic, and we're gonna not worry about hitting the 3rd target. Because we don't actually care about hitting the 3rd target. And you can see all the targets the villain has in play, and they're all gonna punch him in the face. Now, having Firespawn here is a little annoying since it's immune to fire, which means it can't be redirected. But honestly, that's fine. Put Staff of Rock for damage increase into AoE. And again, we don't care about the order because it's all heading to the boss anyway. Because there's so many modifiers, you can see it's actually taking the game a minute to calculate the modifiers. Because what it's trying to do is reduce the damage by 2 7 times, then it's increasing it by 3, and then it's making it irreducible. Or sorry, other way around. It's reducing the damage by 12, or 14. It's reducing the damage by 14 because of the targets, it's reducing it by 1 because of the Gene Bound card, it's reducing it by 1 because of the Gene Bound card, it's making it irreducible because of Bunker, and then it's adding +1 for the 3 damage increases.
Yeah. At least it's slightly faster due to one of the mechanics of Sentinels, where during the game you can hold tab to accelerate calculations and animations. It's just in general very useful since other than that you're going to take quite a while just looking at animations.
Even casually, the animations are quite long. So even casually, I usually hold the speed up button. And like, here's Omnitron. Omnitron is really funny because we're gonna completely not care about like half of his gimmick. The thing with Omnitron is that you have to kill all the devices to win. We don't care because all the devices are going to die passively from Stuntman things. What is Temple of Zulong? Because card draw. Also, I have that in the wrong order, but whatever. Technically, Stuntman should be Asper Legacy. It's not a big enough deal that I care, but it is going to make me lose 1 damage on the first round. Well, at least 1 damage on the first round. So Interplosion Beam is actually the ideal start if we had the hitback from Stuntman. Because we don't, it's just going to lose a little bit of time. Not a huge deal, though. Inspiring Presence Galvanize on turn 1 again. Pretty much the only thing we care about Legacy doing. Getting Inspiring Presence up. And then just kind of, once we have like redirection and things, getting specific setups. But for the most part, we don't actually care. It's just kind of the Galvanize is all and Inspiring Presence are the 2 we really want from him. Stuntman has the gimmick of all of his cards. Pretty much all of his cards have an effect when destroyed. So, yeah, you kind of see that there.
Basic
the
idea
behind the... Oh, I'll let you go.
The basic idea behind Stuntman is I will do stuff while you would do stuff. So all of his mechanic cards will just stay in play until a certain trigger is met. And when he destroys it, he does his stuff. And the variant that we are using for Stuntman increases his damage and lets him play a card when his power is used. So that gives us a way to just very quickly stack up damage over the multiple turns.
Anyway, Undercon plays with Jets there, which is one of the most annoying cards in his deck. Destroys all of the hero ongoing cards. Which normally is really annoying, but we have another Inspiring Presence in hand, so we didn't actually lose anything important. The other thing is, because Stuntman plays so many cards, he doesn't have a lot of great draws. You can see Stuntman currently has like no cards in his hand. Also, you see Fnatic is kind of just dying because her power hits herself for damage. Time to take 800 damage to draw 2 cards. This is Stuntman. You absolutely want to take 800 damage to draw 2 cards. That's really unfortunate. Getting double cliffhanger. Or double match of the temple. Anyway, we get to play the funny card now. I'll play mine first though. So anyway, we're just not going to let the environment finish its turn. It's now Stuntman's turn. And it's one of the few effects in this game that has an animation. So yeah, that's Stuntman. In the middle of the environment turn, we said, nope, it's now my turn. And now it's Stuntman's turn.
That was Now I play Takedown, a card that says the villain cannot play cards. Don't know if I mentioned that last time we played it. But yeah, it just makes it so the villain can't play cards for a round. At the cost of the villain punches you in the face for 3 HP. Or for 3 damage. There's End of Days, which again, we don't want to deal with, so we just are going to not use the power. Why? It's all Master of the Temple. I promise this environment has other cards. I promise it's not the only card in the environment deck.
Master of the Temple is usually one of the worst cards you can get played, since not only does it search out a target, but it also does 2 AoEs of damage, which creates a lot of calculation that has to be done, since at least 4 targets are in play at most times.
Yeah, what you saw there was me skipping my play phase, because by not playing the card during play phase and playing it during power, it does more damage. Don't ask me why. Or it goes faster. Don't ask me why. It just is. It's faster to play it during power than it is to play during play phase. The math works out. Yeah, Omicron is one of the first villains in the game that you can actually lose to. Like, realistically. Because he actually does quite a bit of damage. Especially with the self-damage team we have here. Oh, that's really good, actually. Getting chastised on True Form. I mean, it means True Form's not dying now, but it also means if we get another match of the Temple that we don't die. And that's pretty good. Right Survival is a funny card that we're not using. You can discard a bunch of cards to revive heroes when they die. We don't have the hand or the number of heroes here for it to be relevant, but it's a cool card.
It also has what's supposed to be a downside for reviving, which is you can no longer hit environment targets That means you wouldn't be able to kill the dragon that we have in play right now, or the various ninjas and disciples that are in the environment deck. But realistically, at the point that you revive with it, you just do not care about more targets and are trying to focus down and deal with the villain.
Perfectly concentrated ground there, but oh well. It's assassin. Thankfully, we have Legacy, who has immunity to environment damage. Just plating. There's the plating up routine, which you hate to see, truly. If I click yes here, I die, by the way, so we're obviously not doing that. We're gonna make Omnitor immune to fire damage here, so that we can hit him for projectile damage, and then for fire damage again. However, we're gonna do it on Fnatic's turn, instead of on Legacy's turn this time. Because, yeah. I tried it last time, that because of Galvanize, it does 1 less damage, and because we're doing 4 instances of damage this turn, it's better to do it on Fnatic's turn. Even though it doesn't really matter, because he's dying either way. And so that's where time would be called. And that's the base game speedrun. I'm guessing we still have
GG.
a bit of time, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep, we got a little bit.
So I want to show off a funny thing this game has that it's just cool. We're just going into Baron again. And we're going to show off the Dice Easter egg. Dice is a funny hero because I don't know why he's not doing the thing. Dice is this game's version of Deadpool.
Guys knows the fourth wall exists and he will break it.
Yeah, Geist is really funny because Geist is the only hero in this game I know of who is capable of doing 36 instances of 4 damage to all targets in play. He's also the only hero with a self-contained infinite. Actually, let's wait till I get at least one of the cards we need for what we're doing here. That works. It's not actually the card we need, but that's a lot of card draw in his opening hand, which we're going to use to get to the card we want. First, we'll play the best card ever, which lets you draw cards, deal damage, regain HP, and then play a card. It also has an animation. Where did I lose that to draw 2 cards? We don't care about either of those cards, so we're going to discard them to take a card from our trash instead, and that card is going to be the best card ever. The reason we waited is because it's still in play, so you can't take it back until it's actually finished its effect and is in the trash. Here using Tachyon. Tachyon has the other version of Tachyon. One of the strongest heroes in this game, which is a base power of everyone draws a card. In a card game, that's pretty good.
It's also very
We're gonna have
helpful that she has 4 copies of a card that says, all heroes draw a card, play a card.
Yep. We're not actually worried about killing Baron here. We're just kind of... I promise the environment has other cards. But anyway, we have a card in play that Geist has played called Gritty Reboot. Whenever Geist has dealt damage, he gets to draw a card. And the environment is being nice enough to hit Geist for 4 instances of damage there. So, yay cards. Actually, we only have to draw his whole deck to go for the Infinite as well. Show that off before the end of the stream. Here, we'll play Geist's Redirect. So Geist is funny in that if you draw your entire deck, you get to go Infinite. Only hero in the game that can do that.
Yep. Geist is simply better than all of the other heroes.
Geist is by far one of the dumbest heroes in this game. It's great.
I mean, I love that for him, and I love the Deadpool vibe.
You can't be looking at what Geist actually has in his hands. A thing we don't use very often in speedruns because obviously you kind of have to know what you have in your hand because it's slow to not.
While you're looking for like the infinite card thing, Gothgirl Alexia, where can we find you?
So yeah, I'm on Twitch at Gothbar Alexia. I'm on YouTube at the same thing. I am on different various Discords, especially the Tabletop Simulator Discord for this. We have a lot of cool things there. Cool people there. Lots of cool customs for this game that people have made. Like Ready Reboot here. Funny voice lines for Geist being Geist. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. There's also the speedrunning Discord for this game, which, yeah, if you want to learn the speedrun, or the longer one, which has significantly more strategies, just let me know on find me on Discord at Alexia and let me know, and I can help you get set up with that.
In Games for Life, where can we find you?
I'm also on various Discords about Tabletop Simulator, Sentinels. I'm also on speedrun.com occasionally. And yeah, I found this through the custom community on Tabletop Simulator, so if anyone wants to play this game, that's where I would suggest going.
Awesome. Hopefully we have some new tabletop recruits for you tuning in, so...
That's called power training. We don't use this in the speedrun at all because it's slow. But yeah, using Geist and other combinations of heroes, you can give powers that chain, and it's really silly. We don't use it very often because it's just slow. But when playing casually, pretty good. Eventually, Geist will draw his other retcons, and then we can do the funny Easter egg. We have 2 of the 3, we just need 1 more. So we will use... I can do that too, which lets us use another power. We'll use Tachyon's power. Let everyone draw. His gay card draw. Everyone loves card draw. There's the other retcon. I think I need to have character fortress on for it to do the thing I want it to do, though. So, yeah, we'll turn character portraits on for a minute. Good character portraits, that's what they do. Instead of being text, it's images. Who would have thought? Also, Geist. This is what Geist does. There's a lot of things like this that will play retcon. Which we used to play retcon. Which we'll use to play retcon. There you go, there's that Easter egg. Now we rewind, because I want to actually keep these in hand. I'm going to play one of them because it's card draw. And we want to cycle to the other card draw that Geist has. Picking us. There's one of them.
It would be great if we could get one of the environment cards right now that lets guys draw 3 cards.
Yep, there's an environment card that lets one player either draw 3 or play 1 at the end of the environment turn. The cost is that it plays non-target environment cards, but we don't actually care about non-target environment cards. The cards in the deck that are annoying are the environment targets. This Assassin, every time you kill Assassin, it goes on top of a hero deck, and when you draw, discard, or reveal it, it gets played. Which we don't use in the speedrun very often because the environment isn't super good, but you can. It would be semi-useful in the speedrun. We break Baron stuff just for fun.
Just don't break his stuff too much, else we might see his alternate lost condition. We are still pretty far away from it, but it might happen.
Oh, there's ceremonies, by the way. That's how we wanted.
Oh, nice.
We will redirect. Throw in the ninja for fun. Put it on top of Legacy's deck for fun. And give it to Geist to draw 3 cards. Yes, we want to shuffle the deck. We're pretty close to Geist going infinite anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. I play Where Did I Leave That to draw 2 additional cards from my deck. We drew best card ever, though, which we were going to play.
Good.
I get auto sorts alphabetically, which is kind of nice because, you know, having it be alphabetical means you can find cards easier. We're almost set up to do the Geist incident. Well, one of them. There's a couple, but this is the main Geist incident. We should be set up to do the Geist incident on Geist's next turn. The Geist incident is one of the funniest things in this game because of how absurdly stupid it is.
Because it is infinite, it lets you play infinite cards, lets you draw infinite cards, due to best card ever, regain infinite HP, and deal infinite damage to infinite targets.
It's great. Really. The other incident Geist has that's really common is using Freedom 5 Wraith, where whenever you draw a card, you can discard a card to have the other one draw a card, and so you can basically hand cycle so that both players have a perfect hand every turn. Can I do it now, actually? Do I have enough cards in hand to do it now? Yes, I do. No, they don't have either best card ever yet. Okay, so we do have to wait till Geist's next turn. That's okay. And by Geist's next turn, I mean the environment's next turn. Wait, no, I can't. Hold on. Yeah, because I can draw 3 from the ceremonies. So yeah, we're going to play Selling Out here, which is the entire thing that allows this infinite to work. At the end of the environment turn, you may discard a card to play 3 cards with the same keyword. It's important that these are separate plays. As this continues to do nothing we care about. Now we're going to let Dice draw the rest of his deck. And so here's what the incident looks like. First, we discard a one-shot. It doesn't actually matter which one-shot we discard. We play Best Card Ever, which allows us to draw the one-shot that we just discarded back, as well as doing damage. We steal, and we get to play a card. This card will be Geist Barbarian. Then we play the other Best Card Ever to draw back the first one. Do more damage this time. And play a card. This will be Extreme, because we want our damage to be irreducible because this villain's annoying. Then the third play is going to be Retcon, which we use to destroy Selling Out. Because Selling Out is no longer in play, we can play a card. That card will be Selling Out.
To explain, Selling Out has a keyword called limited, which usually means you can only have one copy of that card in play at a time. But since we destroyed Selling Out, it isn't in play anymore, and we are able to play another copy of it.
Here's the first example of me playing both Best Card Evers in a row, by the way. Into... Just look what I just do for damage here. Then we play Where Did I Leave That? To draw back both of our Best Card Evers. Well, at least one of them. And then we play Retcon to get rid of Selling Out. Play Selling Out. I guess technically we can do this first. Doesn't really matter. And so yeah, the thing is, this is running. The games are a little slower right now than it would normally do. But using this setup, I got bored one time and decided to do this against the Stage 1 Oblivion, who has 10,000 HP. And the funny thing with that is that you don't actually want to kill Oblivion by doing 10,000 damage. And I did it anyway, because I can't. I'm using very weird manipulation, because Oblivion is really good at just killing heroes randomly. Another game mode, it's not super enjoyable. Most people don't like it, for good reason.
The basic game mode is just a series of smaller fights that you can do at any time, really. Then there is Vengeance, which is a mode where you fight a
5v5,
team of
basically.
villains with your own team. And Oblivion is the final fight again to protect the universe. Oh well, the multiverse. So it's supposed to be the last thing you achieve, and it's very cool and ends up tying a lot of the lore together.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't stack the deck.
This is Geist, best hero in the game. I'll have to show something in a second before we... And that's Infinite, you've seen it. I want to show one other thing before we get off. And that is... just the lore page. There's a lot of lore pages here that have some information. I guess it's funny. Changes his own lore here. Usually. Let me see that. It's a really funny card. I didn't use it here because we didn't have a setup for it. You take an equipment, and it's yours for a round. What's funny about that is if you wanted to, you could go to Mr. Fixer, who says, whenever you would deal damage to a target, you do it to all non-hero targets instead. And because you're Dice, you can use other heroes' powers. You know, even just Raw we had earlier. You hit yourself and each non-hero target for 2. Except for every hit, you hit each non-hero target for 2. So all of a sudden, if there's, let's say, 7 non-hero targets, you're hitting all of them for, you know, the 2 damage plus modifiers 7 times. Great. The other hero with the card that I know of immediately is Absolute Zero, who also has 4 modules and the 4 searches for it.
Absolute Zero also has a infinite, but it requires at least 1 hero and 1 environment. Because his infinite will kill himself. So
his
you
infinite
need to
is you make all of his damage fire, basically. So whenever he would be dealt fire damage, you deal a target that much fire damage. And then there's a card in this game, the single funniest card in this entire game, called Fixed Point. We call it the game-breaking card because it breaks the game.
Yep, it's in the environment Time Cataclysm, and it just makes it so nothing can be destroyed. So
for those of you who
regardless
played
of
Magic,
what HP you have, you just can continue playing.
Yeah. So for those of you who played Magic, you know that indestructible means that card cannot be destroyed. In Sentinels, it's slightly sillier than that, and the keyword indestructible means that card cannot leave play. What that means is, until this card is destroyed, everything in play is staying in play. What that means is that what you can do is if you're playing this variant of Absolute Zero, you increase all damage you deal and take by 2. You then get hit for fire damage, to hit yourself for fire damage, to hit yourself for fire damage, to hit yourself for fire damage, because you make this fire. And it slowly increases until you can just one-shot the villain by doing like 100 damage after having to hit yourself for like 1200. No, it's like 400. Something like that. And because I'm thinking about it, here's the other hero that makes the funny infinite go over. Draw a card until the end of your next turn. Whenever you draw a card, you may discard a card. You guys can use that power. So every time one of you draws a card, you can make the other, or you can discard to make the other one draw, which they can then discard to make you draw. And you can basically just stack your hand every turn.
Seems like
Yeah, I think that's Sounds good?
all right. Great.
That's all I wanted to go over anyway.
So thank you seriously so much for showing us so much about this game. I didn't know about it before coming on today, and I just love how much like detail and time and attention went into it, and I just love seeing games like this where there's so much love that went into it. So that's really awesome. Thank you for bringing this to us. But again, I wanted to take a moment to plug both of you. Thank you so much for your time, Goth Girl Alexia, and Games for Life. If you would like to do any final plugs, and then we are going to get set up for the next showcase.
So yeah, like I said, if you go to Tabletop Simulator, there is a table called Sentinels of the Workshop. If you go there, you can get to the Discord for it, and that is where there's a lot of other conversation that's always going on about Sentinels. And also, you can go to the speedrun.com page if you want to get to the speedrunning Discord to get into either speedrunning the game or even just, more conversation about the game. We're always happy to talk about it.
Thank you so much. This has been super awesome. So, everybody, we are going to go to intermission screen and get set up for our next run here in just a second. So get up, stretch, but don't go too far because we will be back in just a few minutes. Okay, everyone, that was an absolutely awesome, super fun showcase. I had a blast today, and I hope all of you did as well. As a reminder, my name is Jaypeg. I've been your host of the day, your hangout buddy. If you would like to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at also Jaypeg, ALSO JAYPEG, or on Twitch at JPEG_EXE. I'm going to be releasing a schedule for some weekly creativity streams soon, where we do some chill crafty time and just hang around, chat. So hopefully that we will, be somebody's fancy, and maybe you'll come hang out with me too. I would love it. But more importantly, I want to talk about what we have for future attract modes, because while this one has come to an end, we certainly have wonderful things in store for you. So we have a double feature coming up on Thursday, November 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll start by catching Astrid the Horror Girl showing off a speedrun of Ruiner, which is a brutal, action-heavy twin-stick shooter, and she'll make it even more brutal by running on the most difficult category, which is New Game Plus No Tutorial. And then, for a change of pace right after, we know you're going to need to wind down from all that adrenaline, and Scala Kitty is here to deliver with a speedrun of one of the coziest indie games to come out this year, Sticky Business. Come join her as she runs a sticker shop and gets to know her new customers. Make sure to stick around, wink wink, for some fun sticker creation afterwards too. And if you have enjoyed this, just a reminder that the Lady Arcaders 2022 highlights video is out on our socials right now, thanks to our wonderful editor, Pikal, and we are so proud to have this look back at our first year of gaming with some wonderful women and femmes. Alright? I have enjoyed my time here with all, but it is time for our raid. We're going to be raiding into Broken Hyperlink today, so strap in, enjoy, and we will see you next time on Attract Mode.